Today we have a seasoned expert here. Here we are going to know how the Canadian market is. So what are the recent trends? What's the hot cake in the Canadian market? If you are a fresher, how you will be getting into the industry, or if you are an expert, what need to be done according to that? We'll get to know our insights from Mr. Ram, who is available here. Hello sir, glad to have you sir. Let's go into the bigger picture. So how the Canadian market is. So what are the hot trends right now in Canada, and where Canada will be fitting into the tech industry globally?
Yeah, so the Canadian market, people have a misconception that there are no jobs in Canada. People, whoever come as a PRs or whoever come as a students or even on a work permit holders, they always complain that there are no jobs here. But let me tell you, 40% of IT job seekers in Canada or IT job professionals in Canada, they do more than one job, which means that there are so many number of jobs than the number of people. But the challenge in Canada is Canada has a very different ecosystem. They have a very different culture when it comes to job search, due to which whatever strategies, whatever methods we start in doing job search in other countries other than Canada, the same strategies won't work in Canada. When we come to Canada to do the job search, even though there are more number of jobs than the number of people, since we don't know how to fit into that culture, we don't know what strategies we need to implement in Canadian market, people are finding it difficult to get the job. So companies always complain they are not able to get good professionals, and they are finding it very hard to get people to fill the jobs, and professionals always complain that they are not able to get the jobs and companies are hiring. So there is this misunderstanding between both the employers and the job professionals. So to answer your question, Himasri, the market in Canada is pretty good, but it is the job seekers who are not able to understand how to search for these jobs, how to be ready for those jobs, and how to enter into the companies to do those jobs.
Okay, so you suggested we need a right guidance to go into the market. With the right guidance, always the results will follow.
Yeah, need not be guidance. If you have guidance, well and good. But if you do proper study, research, that also helps a lot in fitting into the Canadian job market.
Okay, so right now we have the resume writing, ATS compatibility along with the AI screening. So we need to match the resumes with the JDs, or we have to concise our resumes to one page or the two page. So I would like to know, does it really work, or is it a noise that creates by to get the content, or it's just a myth?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to tell you here is job search is not a science. If I don't have a resume, I can still get the job. But that doesn't mean you can get a job without any resume. At the same time, if I have a one-page resume, I can still get a job. And if I have a 6 or 7-page resume, I can still get a job. So there is no hard and fast rule that your resume should be some X number of pages, or your resume should have some ABC skill sets. It all boils down to how you present yourself in a proper way. What is your profile? What is the job you are applying for? Is your profile meeting the requirements of that job, and how you are presenting yourself?
So recently there is a debate between me and my friend. If I am applying for the job posting, she always forced me to do one page resume, not for 2 pages. My work experience, I can't fit into the one page. I would like to explain what's the work I have done, what's the culture I have in between in my past company. So it's the constant debate we are having, but I have seen many people getting the results with 2 page or 3 page or the 1 page. So it's all about how we deliver in the interview, or keeping the right filler words in the resume. Do you say that? So does it happen in that way?
Yeah, as I said, there is no particular formula, but what I have observed, I'll share my observations.
Okay.
Let's say if you are a senior profile meaning a project manager or an executive director or a C-level position professional. In such case, generally a one-page resume would be okay, because in one-page resume, you will just put in what you have done, but you will not explain how you have done it.
Okay.
For example, if I have generated some $50 million business to the company, if you are a salesperson, you will just put in generated $50 million business, so XYZ company. In the interview, you will explain how you have got that. But if you are a mid-level professional, something like between 3 years and say 7 years of experience, then I would suggest 2 to 3 page resume is okay, because you will explain whatever companies you have worked, what you have worked in that company, so that engages the recruiter to see, hey, this guy has the skill set what we need. When it comes to freshers or junior positions, either a one page or a 2-page resume will definitely work out.
Okay. So I'd like to get to know that ATS will screen your resume in 6 minutes, or the hiring managers will screen your resume in 6 seconds. Is that really happening, or it's just a noise over the market?
No, it's not a noise. You have to understand, recruiters get hundreds of resumes every day, and hiring managers will get tens or sometimes even hundreds of shortlisted resumes. He cannot go and spend 15 minutes time on each resume. So he will just have a quick glance for 5 to 10 seconds, and if it catches his attention, then he will set it aside, then he will go to the next resume. But he won't spend 1 minute, 2 minutes on each resume.
Okay.
So it is important that your resume should look very nice in terms like it should catch the attention of the person. You need to have some highlighters wherever you feel that the hiring manager will get some traction.
Okay.
So that also will give good attention by the hiring manager or the recruiter.
Okay. As our previous discussion, I found that you have mentioned AI screening. In future or in coming years, does really AI hiring will clear out all these things and will only get shortlisted only by AI screening or getting our resume scrutinized by them? So do we have that thing coming up in coming years?
Yeah, it will definitely come up. If you see it in the past, recruiters used to screen the resumes manually. But now AI will automate whatever a human does. So if there is an ATS which is screening, AI will add some intelligence to this system. So I think all the ATS software now are integrated with AI. So there is no specific AI related thing. See, that is for good only. Like we just have to be adapting to that AI requirement.
Okay, okay. From past 1 year, I'm mentoring and helping the DevOps candidate. I would like to know recently the DevOps has moreover become coding job. So in each and every interviews, we are finding either the code assessment or they are asking for the live coding. So the past experience people are moreover no coders. Right now for the freshers are also leaning towards the DevOps. Is DevOps become a coding job? Or only few sectors are looking for the coding included for the DevOps engineers?
In the earlier days, DevOps used to be tool driven. Jenkins used to be the heart and soul of DevOps. If people know Jenkins, they used to be DevOps engineers, or people who have build and release experience in the past, they used to become DevOps engineers. So if you learn a tool and if you have some build and release experience, you are a DevOps engineer.
Okay.
Where there was not much need for coding. But now DevOps has taken a shape completely code driven. Pipelines are codified. The security is codified. The compliance is codified. Infrastructure is codified. Now everything we can code. Now since everything is codified, they want the DevOps professional not just have the ability to use the code, but the ability to codify the things.
Okay.
So that is where companies are realizing that they need DevOps professionals who have good coding abilities.
Okay.
So that's why in one of the interview round, they always ask the person to have coding assessment done, only after which they will start the technical assessment.
Okay. So what's your suggestion for the people who are in the job market or the job seekers? So which coding, like we have that Python scripting, Java. So in these two, Python is the most preferable I have seen. What's your suggestion? Where to start? So what are the Python terms they need to know to crack the coding interview?
So in the coding assessment, whether it is for a software developer or for a DevOps engineer or a data engineer, they don't really mind what technology or what tool or what language you know. If you open the coding assessment, it will ask you to choose what language you wanted to go. Okay. You can choose Python, you can choose .NET, you can choose Java, and you can write that code assessment in that language. So companies don't really mind what coding language you write. They just wanted to ensure that you do have some coding language. But I always advise people to go for Python because number one, Python is a scripting language, not a programming language per se. And number two, if you learn Python, you can become a data scientist, you can become a Python developer, you can become a data analyst, you can become a data engineer, or even you can write all your DevOps scripts in Python. So Python, if you know, you can cover most of the interest. But if you learn only Java, then probably you will be confined only to one specific technology.
Okay. So in your perspectives, what are the roadmaps? So how a fresher can get into the market? If I am a fresher, so what your suggestion will be?
So there are several roadmaps possible. Like the choice of the roadmap depends on number one is your past education. Whether are you coming from an engineering background or an IT education background or a non-engineering or a non-IT education background. And number two is affinity towards coding, whether you like coding or not, or whether you don't like coding or not. Number three is your interest. Like some people like security, some people like infrastructure, some people like to play around with data. So these three factors decide what is the roadmap we can choose. So some of the roadmaps I can suggest are like data roadmap. The starting step is a data analyst, followed by data engineer, followed by data scientist, followed by ML engineer and AI engineer. And if you start your career as a fresher, you can start with IT support analyst, and then you can become cloud engineer, and then you can become a cloud developer or a cloud architect, and then you can become a DevOps engineer. Or if you're a software developer, you can start your career as a software developer, then you can become a DevOps engineer, and you can become a DevOps architect or a software developer solutions architect. These are three popular career roadmaps that one can suggest. But again, there are so many permutations and combinations for these roadmaps possible. It all boils down to the three factors which I explained to you earlier. Number one, the education. Number two, your interest level. And number three, your affinity towards coding.
So based on my identification, most of the students will be stuck in these two. How to stand out in the market, how they have to present themselves.
For freshers or a fresh graduate students, there are two factors that they have to keep in mind. Number one is presentation, and number two is preparation. Presentation meaning how they want to present their profile to the market. They have to decide first, and then they have to prepare a very professionally written resume, and they have to have very good highlights on what their achievements, what their certifications, etc. So that will help them to stand out among others and help them present well. Number two is preparation. The mere presentation is not enough. Mere presentation will only help you to get a call or an interview from the recruiter or the company. So if you are technically strong, if you prepare well for the certifications, if you practice a lot, if you do some projects, and then you will be able to talk very confidently in the interview.
Okay.
And your technology or the skill will be fresh on your mind. You can talk very confidently in the interview, and they will get the offer.
Okay.